We have a lot going on in the world of Magic the Gathering. We are talking about the singles sales and what's happening. Stay tuned, it's coming up next. Hi everyone and welcome back. MTG Moxman here. Thanks again for hanging out with me today because the world of Magic is getting flipped around a bit. Things are happening that really I don't see anyone else talking about right now. And in this case, we're diving into the singles market this week. It is a Hot 10 video. I will go over the hottest selling cards in Magic this week, but it's the sheer volume of sales. It's up across the board. And I'm not just talking about remastered, but I'm talking Brothers War, Dominaria, Streets of New Capenna, and of course Kamigawa Neon Dynasty. The sales are up everywhere in the singles market on these cards. Now, what most people fail to realize is a lot of these sets, and although Wizards of the Coast is in the doghouse with most of the player base, the singles market has been doing fairly well. From your LGSs, local stores, Facebook groups, eBay, etc. But people also realize that a lot of these sets are not going to get reprinted and they're not going to be opened again. Some of these sets are already pseudo-retired. Kamigawa and stuff isn't really being printed. It had multiple print runs, but it's done. When you take a look at Streets of New Capenna, it's not coming around again. Baldur's Gate? Oh my god, that didn't even get a reprint. Remember that. Keeping a case or two might be okay. I don't know, I'm just saying it looks like cards like that are not coming around again, which means those dragons, some of the cards we've seen, like the Triomes and Streets of New Capenna, are probably going to be a little more rare than people realize. And although some of those cards didn't make the list, the sales were high enough that I have to do like an honorable mention and just say, there's a lot of funky stuff going on in the market that we need to pay attention to. I will be covering this stuff in upcoming videos. You just gotta stay tuned. Turn on your notification bells. You'll see my videos when they come up each and every day. I provide content on my channel. And I will be covering some of this stuff because these sales this week are way out of the norm of what we've seen recently. So let's get back into this. Let's start off and go through number 10 to number 1. I'll show you the hottest selling cards this week and you guys can decide what you think is going on in the comment section by joining the conversation. This is a place where Magic conversation is alive and I love to see those comments in the comment section. I don't know guys, crazy stuff, but we're going to follow this. We're going to find out what's going on. We're starting out with Island, Retro Frame, Dominaria Remaster. I know, an Island made it onto the list, but pay attention to that. 893 sales. Who is buying all these Islands? Why, it's players with that nostalgic feel who just say, this is an amazing card I want to own again. Near mint retro border like this, and it appears with the price being so cheap, and being able to buy one for less than $1 a piece, of course, that's a card you want to dive into and own. And that's the interesting thing is players are buying a lot of these cards, some from nostalgic, some from new, just to have a little bit of this cool retro feel that we got from Dominaria Remastered. Way to go for the Islands, but we're not done there. Wrath of God Borderless Edition. Now, with what we're seeing in the market and the surge of influx that we've seen for new stock, like Wrath of God used to be a fairly expensive card, okay? But they've reprinted it numerous times, and that's really dropped that price down. But it's also made players who may not have been interested in formats like Commander because they thought it might be too expensive, those players are now starting to explore that option. They're starting to say, it's only going to cost me a couple of bucks to get a Wrath of God, really $2.82. I get this cool, retro, like amazing, I was going to say retro. You guys were going to get me on that. Full, amazing art. Yeah, I get it, guys. I get it. It's a Saturday. I'm tired. It's been a late night counting all this stuff, but you know what? It's pretty amazing to see. I just can't believe these are the hottest selling cards, but there was about 120 that didn't make the list this week that were just so close to that 700-800 mark that it just blew my mind. There's so much counting. Crop Rotation is number 8 this week. 1,347 sales. Now, a card like this used to only be a few bucks anyway, but remember what Crop Rotation does. It's 1 green, it's an instant. As an additional cost of the spell, sacrifice a land. Search your library for a land card and put it in the battlefield. You see what I'm talking about? There are reasons to thin out your deck. Not really, I mean, I guess you can use it in Commander. I heard a lot of players tell me recently that it really doesn't do that much effective change in a deck like that. But at the same time, these are cards people want to own. And at 1,347 sales, somebody's buying. Now, Birds of Paradise. All right, I opened a couple of these when I did those box openings for 401 games, and thanks again for those who watched those videos and supported the channel, because if I can't get enough views on those videos, chances are 401 is not going to let me keep doing box openings. So for those who watched, I really appreciate it, as it does give a certain amount of prestige to me being able to open them. So thank you guys. Now, 1,512 sales this week. And remember, guys, when you look at these cards, these are the ones I could count from the sites I can get information from the stores that are feeding me information. I'm sure there's more. Things like Card Market, where I can't really count accurately. I can only get little insider knowledge. There's probably a lot more sales than I can track. Now, the market price, $7.67 US. That is a very affordable card for a Birds of Paradise, kind of like that retro look. I love this card. It brings me back such great memories, and now it's actually more affordable. I might pick up a couple extra play sets just for some decks I'm going to have some fun with. And remember, guys, if you yourself are going to be shopping for any of these cards I show you today and you're using TCG Player, please remember to use my affiliate link. It is found in the description of all my videos. Just click on the TCG link in my description. It'll take you right to TCG Player for your shopping experience. And then, of course, I get a slight kickback on the channel. It helps me buy cards. It's amazing, guys. I really appreciate those who take the time to do that and support the channel. Now, number 5 is Worldly Tutor. That's right, man. Retro frame. Look at this card. This thing finally is getting a reprint, and it's bringing the price down again, making it more accessible. But at the same time, it is dragging that price down. That as the glut in the market right now starts to settle, this card's going to go up in price. I tell you now, all of these type of Worldly Tutor, Mystical Tutors, all those cards, Vampiric, Vampiric not as much. It won't recover as quickly as the other ones, but these guys are going to kind of climb back up. I think they'll reach back up to the $20 mark, because the money's going to move on to Phyrexia All Will Be One. I think this is an initial shot in the arm. We're going to have a whole influx of cards into the market, into all these stores, and it's going to dry up like that, snap your fingers and it's gone, and then they move on to the next thing, which is Phyrexia All Will Be One, which will have a lot more staying power than people realize because of the cards they've put in and the way they've engineered it for Standard. Even though nobody plays Standard, that's where they're going to be putting some chits in there, and we'll see how things go. Great card, though. Now, number 4 is Swords to Plowshares. I'm not particularly fond of this art. I'm actually a retro, old-school art frame. I don't know why they call this retro, just because the black border. Nah. But 2,187 sales is the number 4 card this week. That's crazy from what we've seen the last several weeks. It's more than double other numbers we've seen. It's less than $1. It's not expensive. But it's the amount of sales that tells me people are buying these cards, obviously. They're picking them up. And these are only the ones I can physically count. There's lots that I can't count. I'm only getting a little slice of the pie to see what's going on out there. And this is as far as I got. And this is an amazing card. Like, hey, I use this all the time in my White Weenie deck back in the day. But yes, cards like this are selling fast because players need them all the time for decks, and most players don't want to interchange them. Getting 4 for $4 makes perfect sense to a lot of players. But let's go to number 3 here. Number 3 is Counterspell. 2,290 sales this week. Market price is less than 50 cents US, guys. Again, a playset of 4. A playset of 4, $2. That's what we're talking about. This downgrade in the market, where we've seen so many reprints now that cards are just getting degraded and destroyed, it is intentional. Wizards wants certain aspects of the game to be very accessible to the basic player base, the casual player. They want them to be able to go in, spend $10, get 10 or 12 key cards they need. And they're thinking it's going to keep the LGS happy, which really it'll be mediocre at best, and let that player get some cards and maybe get them further into the game. This is where they're going with this kind of stuff. These kind of reprints we're seeing. It's something to pay attention to. Now, number 2, Mystic Remora. Okay, an amazing card. Take a closer look at this bad boy. 1 blue enchantment. Cumulative upkeep of 1. Whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card unless that player pays 4. Now, there are so many ways of bringing back enchantments nowadays that letting this go to your graveyard means basically nothing, because you can just go back and get it. The artwork's fine. Has that whole like merfolk kind of vibe. I like that. It kind of reminds me also of the original art because of the fish in the background, but I like it. It's the sales though. 2,301 sales as the number 2 card, as opposed to the 12 or 1,300 sales or 1,500 sales we've had in the past. This is getting much closer to the original initial sales volumes we saw at around Kamigawa all the way through to Dominaria United before the collapse of the 30th anniversary. So I don't know if this is a turning page going on, but these sales are not regular for most of the player base. This is far above what we've normally seen recently, but now we have to get to number one, guys. We've done enough time here. I want to show you the number one card this week, and that is Mystical Tutor. Dominaria Remastered, 2,493 sales that I could count. The market value is $9.87. Now, there are different versions of this card. I'm sure when I checked them, they weren't nearly as much because they're more expensive cards. The sales volumes weren't the same. So it tells me players buying this card just wanted to get their hands on it. But when you take a look at what this stuff represents, the fact it's been reprinted is going to bring the price down. But remember, the glut in the market will dry up as people buy, say, 4 for a play set, so they never have to buy it again. And that's something to keep in mind. If you had to get one, I don't think it's going much lower than this, and it's probably a good time to buy. Search your library for an instant or sorcery card, reveal it, and shuffle it and put that card on top. I used to use it with all kinds of amazing cards. I'm sure you guys do too, except for I was using Time Walks and Forks and stuff. I get it. An amazing card. And that just, it lets you know that as angry as people want to be with Wizards, they're still buying the stuff. They're just buying singles. And the amount on the reserve list tomorrow, you'll see the reserve list video tomorrow on Sunday. Everything goes to 0. Pay attention to that video and stick around to the end. You'll be shocked. It's crazy stuff out there, guys. Things are moving in ways I didn't expect right now. And I just think when Phyrexia All Will Be One comes up, we're going to see a next generation jumping forward to buy these cards. I mean, the anger and frustration will give way to the amount of amazing cards that people are seeing and the vibe they're getting from Phyrexia All Will Be One. I think we're going to see people start to crack under the pressure and just want to get back to playing. And I wonder if that's what Wizards intends all along. Master plans, man. Crazy stuff. So, yeah, things are going nuts out there. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out on the channel. And let's see where things lead us in the next little while. I look forward to your comments to see what you guys say about all this and the amount of sales. And we'll talk soon. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out. If you're new to the channel, thanks for being here. Thanks for participating in what goes on here. This is a place where conversation lives in Magic the Gathering. This is where we come to chat. I want to see those comments and read what you guys have to say. It makes it part of a community here on the channel. And for those who support my channel each and every day by turning on your notification bell and watching the content as it comes up, I really appreciate it, guys. So thanks for taking the time to spend some time with me, the Moxman. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow for the next video. Crazy stuff. Hey guys, this is a shout out to all the fantastic patrons on the channel. I hope you guys remember to watch tomorrow's video and watch it all the way to the end. I got some for my patrons and YouTube membership members to talk about. Want to go over it? Thanks again to all my patrons. Don't miss tomorrow's video.